I adjusted my tie for the 5th time and glanced around the crowded office party. Everyone was smiling, laughing, clinking glasses, but my eyes kept finding Ava. She stood near the bar, chatting with Ethan, that new guy from marketing. Her laugh was loud, bright, too bright, and my stomach knotted. "Hey, babe," I said, sliding up beside her. "Oh, hey," she replied, barely glancing at me. "I was just telling Ethan about that ridiculous client meeting last week. Can you believe he actually thought we'd agree to that?" I frowned. Yeah, it was absurd. She leaned closer to him, resting her hand lightly on his arm. "I know, right?" I told him, "You clearly don't know what you're talking about." I swallowed. "Ava, why are you getting so close to him?" She laughed, brushing it off. "Relax. I'm just joking. You're always so serious." Her words didn't calm me. They never did when she laughed like that. Something about the way she smiled at him made my chest ache. I wandered toward the snack table, trying to ignore the twist of jealousy in my stomach. That's when I noticed her watching me, then turning her attention to a woman in a sleek black dress. She had sharp eyes, a confident posture, and an amused smile that seemed to see straight through me. "You're staring," she said, tilting her head. Sorry," I stammered. "I'm Lena," she said, holding out a hand. "You look like you're about to explode." I chuckled nervously. "You could say that. Ava, my girlfriend, she's flirting with someone else, and I can't tell if I'm overreacting." Lena's smile widened. "Not overreacting. Blind, maybe." I frowned. "Blind? What do you mean?" "Look at her," Lena said, nodding toward Ava, who was now leaning closer to Ethan, whispering something that made him laugh. "She's performing. You're the audience." I laughed bitterly. "Performing?" "Yes. She's showing off. Maybe she's bored. Maybe she likes the attention. You're too close to see it. Most people would miss the signs." I felt heat rise to my cheeks. I've known her for years. I thought we were perfect together. Perfect? Lena tilted her head, eyebrow raised. "Ever notice the cracks? The little things she does when she thinks you're not watching?" I swallowed hard. I guess sometimes." "Exactly," Lena said, leaning closer. "Sometimes love blinds us to what's right in front of our eyes." Before I could respond, Ava called out. "Hey! Come here for a second." I walked over, forcing a casual smile. "What's up?" "Ethan's just telling me about his promotion," she said, batting her eyelashes. "I think it's adorable." I clenched my jaw. "That's great. Really happy for him." "Don't be jealous," she teased, nudging my shoulder. "You know I only have eyes for you." Her words sounded hollow. I wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. Later, I found Lena near the balcony, watching the city lights. "She really is something," I muttered. "She's talented," Lena said. "At keeping you in the dark." I shook my head. "I don't get it. Why would she do that?" "I love her. I trust her." "Love and trust don't always match reality," Lena said softly. "The people we adore can also be the ones who hurt us the most." I stared at her, words catching in my throat. "And you think she's doing it on purpose?" "Not think." "I know," Lena replied, a hint of amusement in her voice. "You're smart, but you've got your blind spots. The question is, how long before you wake up?" Her words lingered, echoing in my mind. I tried to push them away, tried to convince myself I was imagining it, but the knot in my stomach wouldn't loosen. Ava appeared behind me, smiling like nothing had happened. "Ready to dance?" she asked, taking my hand. I nodded, forcing a smile. "Sure." But as we moved toward the music, my mind was elsewhere. Lena's words replayed endlessly. Blind spots, wake up. I had loved Ava with everything I had, but for the first time, I wondered if I'd been loving an illusion. I never thought a single conversation could feel like a punch to the chest, but there I was, staring at Ava across the table in that quiet cafe, my hands trembling. So. I guess I should just say it, she said, stirring her coffee lazily. I'm engaged. I choked on my breath. What? Ava shrugged, like it was nothing. Yeah. Ryan and we decided to take the next step. I stared at her, words dying in my throat. You what? She rolled her eyes. Relax. I didn't tell you sooner because, well. I didn't want to hurt you. Hurt me? I laughed, bitter and hollow. You've been living a lie for months. Was I, just a placeholder? Ava's lips twitched, almost like a smirk. I never said that. I just needed to figure things out. You understand, right? I slammed my hand on the table. Figure things out? You were supposed to be with me. I trusted you. You're overreacting, she said, leaning back, calm as if I were the crazy one. I'm not your enemy. I shook my head, voice rising. Not my enemy. You lied, Ava. You lied to my face. I thought we were building something real. And we were, she insisted. But life isn't always black and white. I laughed without humor. Black and white. Is that what you call this? She opened her mouth, paused, and then sighed. I didn't plan for you to find out like this. But, maybe it's better you do now than later. I stood abruptly, chair scraping against the floor. Better? You're telling me it's better I find out you're leaving me for someone else. I'm sorry, okay, she said, voice softening. I didn't mean to hurt you. But it's done. There's nothing more to say. I felt my chest tighten. I wanted to scream, cry, beg, anything. But my mind, for the first time, started to see clearly. This wasn't love. This was Ava being selfish, wrapped in charm and excuses. I stormed out of the cafe and found myself leaning against the wall outside, breathing ragged. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Lena. Everything okay? I typed quickly, almost angrily. No. She's engaged. To someone else. I don't know what to do. A reply came almost immediately, I saw it coming. I frowned. What do you mean? Look, you're too nice, too trusting. People like Ava, they don't change. They just find new ways to hurt the ones who care about them. I rubbed my eyes. It feels like my world just crashed. I loved her. My fingers hesitated over the screen. I still do, but it's like she was never really mine. You're realizing the truth, Lena said. Painful, yeah. But necessary. You can't fix someone else's choices. Only yours. I sank onto the curb, head in my hands. I want to scream. I want to throw something. I don't even know what I want. Start small, she texted. Breathe. Think. Don't react yet. This isn't over, but it's a beginning. I stared at the screen. Lena's words were calm, steady, so unlike the chaos in my head. A beginning, huh? Feels more like the end of everything. Sometimes endings feel that way, she replied. But endings are what give you a chance to rebuild. Your life doesn't have to revolve around her anymore. I swallowed. Rebuild, sounds impossible right now. You're stronger than you think. Right now, it hurts. Tomorrow, it won't hurt as much. And soon, you'll be glad you didn't stay blind. I laughed bitterly. Blind, yeah. I guess I've been blind for a long time. Exactly. Open your eyes now. Learn from this. I glanced down the street, the sky dimming as dusk settled in. You make it sound so easy. It's never easy, Lena typed. But clarity always comes with pain. Don't waste it crying over someone who didn't deserve you. Think about yourself for once. I stared at the message, feeling a spark of something I hadn't felt in weeks, resolve. I didn't have a plan yet. I didn't know how I'd survive this. But for the first time, I realized I had a choice. I could stay broken, or I could take the first step towards something better. You really think I can do it? I asked. I know you can, Lena replied. Now get up. Stop standing in the street feeling sorry for yourself. Your life is waiting. Start walking. I stood, trembling but upright. The anger was still there, raw and sharp, but beneath it, a new clarity bloomed. Ava had betrayed me, yes, but she didn't get to define me anymore. Not today. I sent one last message to Lena, thanks. I'll try. You don't try. You do, she replied. I walked away from the cafe, each step lighter than the last. The night was quiet, but my mind was loud, alive with possibilities. I wasn't ready for revenge, not yet, but I was ready to reclaim my life. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel like a victim. I walked into the office the next morning, expecting awkward glances, maybe whispers, but not the cold silence I found. Hey, I said to Max, my best friend since college. He didn't look up. Morning. Is everything okay? I asked, frowning. He shrugged. Yeah. Busy day. Lots to do. I stared. Something in his tone was off. Max, talk to me. You're acting weird. He finally met my eyes, but there was something different there. Look, man, people are saying stuff about you. About Ava. You know how it is. I froze. What do you mean? They think you overreacted. That maybe you pushed her away. Pushed her away. Max, she's engaged. She betrayed me. I slammed my hand on my desk. And you're siding with them? I'm not taking sides, he said quickly. Just, you know how the office is. No. I don't know how the office is, I snapped. I thought you were my friend. You've known me forever. Max looked guilty, but he didn't defend himself. I'm sorry. He trailed off. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my voice. Just what, Max? You can't even stand up for me? He shrugged. It's complicated. I shook my head, feeling a punch in my chest. Complicated? This isn't complicated. Ava lied. I trusted her. And my best friend turns his back on me. Before he could answer, Clara appeared, hovering nearby. I heard what happened, she said softly. I'm sorry, I know it must be hard. I looked at her, surprised. You mean it? Yes, she said. I may not know everything, but I can tell she hurt you. Don't let the office gossip make you feel smaller than you are. Her words were a small relief, but the sting of betrayal burned bright. I had thought Max would be my anchor. Instead, I felt like I was standing in a storm alone. Later, Lena called. Talk to me, she said when I picked up. I don't know how to face everyone, I admitted. Even Max, he's treating me like I did something wrong. That's their problem, not yours, Lena said firmly. You can't control them, only how you react. I feel like my world is collapsing, I muttered. Good, she said, her voice sharp but kind. Pain shakes you awake. Don't let it break you. I closed my eyes, trying to breathe. I can't even look at Ava without without hating myself for loving her. Then stop looking, Lena replied. Focus on what you can control. Start with small victories. Today, speak up at work. Show them who you are, not what they say about you. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Small victories. At lunch, Clara joined me. You handled Max well, she said, sitting down. Most people would have snapped. I wanted to, I admitted. But what would it have solved? Nothing. Except make me feel worse. Exactly, she said. Sometimes keeping your dignity is the first win. I nodded, feeling a flicker of strength. Thanks, Clara. I need to remember that. The afternoon was tense. Ava's name came up in passing conversations. People whispered, glanced, and some even snickered. But I noticed something: when I spoke confidently, when I stated facts or asked questions, they listened. Respect returned slowly, quietly. By the end of the day, I felt different. Not healed, not even close, but awake. The betrayal stung less sharply now, replaced with clarity. Max had shown his true colors. Ava had revealed hers. But I was still here, still standing. That evening, I met Lena at our usual spot. How was the office? She asked. Tense, I admitted, but I feel like I regained something. Maybe respect. Maybe just control over myself. Good, she said, smiling. That's the first step. Keep building on it. I laughed, a small, bitter laugh. I thought I'd crumble. I thought this betrayal would destroy me. And it would have, Lena said. If you let it. But you didn't. That's what matters. We walked in silence for a few moments, the city lights flickering around us. I thought about Max, about Ava, about all the so-called friends who had shown their true colors. The sting of betrayal remained, but for the first time, I felt capable. Tomorrow, Lena said, you take another step. One more victory. And then another. You'll see. Life isn't over because people are selfish. I hope you're right, I said quietly. I am, she said, squeezing my shoulder. Now stop moping. Start living. I smiled faintly, feeling the weight in my chest ease a little. The world hadn't ended. Ava's betrayal, Max's cowardice, they were pieces of a puzzle I was beginning to understand. And I wasn't going to let them define me anymore. I didn't expect to feel normal again so quickly, but Lena had a way of cutting through my chaos. You've been quiet, she said, handing me a coffee. Plotting world domination, or just sulking? I smirked. Maybe a little of both. You look calmer, she noted. Like you actually slept last night. I did, I admitted. For the first time in weeks, I didn't dream about Ava. Lena leaned back, eyes sharp. Good. You're learning to breathe again. Now, what about your passions? You've been neglecting everything you love because, what, she was drama central. I chuckled. Yeah, apparently. I haven't touched my camera in months. Then pick it up, she said. Start small. Take a walk, snap some shots. Reclaim your life. I stared at her, then nodded. Okay. I'll try. The next day, I dusted off my old camera and wandered through the city streets. I captured shadows on walls, neon reflections in puddles, anything that caught my eye. Each click was a small victory, a reminder that I still had control over something. Later, at lunch, Lena joined me. Looks like you're rediscovering your world, she said, scanning my photos on my phone. Feels good, I admitted. Like I'm noticing things again. Colors, shapes, even little annoyances feel smaller now. Good, she said, smiling. That's what rebuilding feels like. One tiny piece at a time. I laughed. You make it sound poetic. Life's too short for monotony, she replied. Besides, you need some poetry if you're going to survive your ex flaunting her engagement. I frowned. She did post another picture today. Engagement ring, happy smiles, the whole show. Did it sting? Lena asked. Not as much, I admitted. I mean, a little. But I didn't feel the need to comment, to plead, to react. I just scrolled past. That's progress, she said. You're reclaiming your peace. You're choosing dignity over drama. I nodded, thinking of how many times I'd been dragged into Ava's little games. I never thought I could feel indifferent toward her. But I do. And it feels powerful. You should feel powerful, Lena said. You were blindsided, hurt, betrayed, but you're still standing. That counts for more than any post she makes. I stared at her, feeling a warmth I hadn't noticed before. You make it sound easy. I guess having someone to talk to helps. I'm here, she said, lightly nudging my shoulder. And you've got to admit, I'm charming. I laughed. Charming, yes. Dangerous too. I feel like you see right through me. Because I do, she said. And you need it. Trust me, ignoring the truth doesn't make it vanish. Facing it does. Later that evening, I ran into Ava at a mutual friend's dinner. She looked stunning, all smiles and elegance. She waved, obviously expecting a reaction. Hey, I said calmly, offering a polite nod. She blinked. Oh, hi. You look good. Thanks, I replied, smiling faintly. You too. Everything okay between us? She asked, tilting her head, testing me. I laughed softly. We're done. I've accepted it. You made your choice. Ava's lips tightened. You're handling this well. I'm handling it, I said. I've got people who care about me. I'm moving forward. She hesitated, searching for a crack, but I stayed steady. Enjoy your evening, I said, turning to Lena, who had just arrived. Lena slid her arm through mine. We were leaving anyway, she said softly, smiling up at me. I felt a flicker of pride, a warmth spreading through my chest. Ava watched us, probably expecting jealousy or regret. But I felt neither. On the way out, Lena whispered, You're growing stronger. Not just in words, but in presence. Thanks, I said, squeezing her hand briefly. I couldn't do this without you. You could, she said. But it's easier with me. I laughed quietly. Easier, maybe. But I like easier. Her eyes sparkled. Good. Because you deserve that, not stress and lies. That night, I sat alone for a moment, thinking about Ava's posts, her pride, her arrogance. I didn't hate her anymore. Not really. I just felt neutral. Detached. Free. And for the first time, I didn't feel lost. I felt capable. Lena's words echoed in my mind, one piece at a time. Tomorrow, I would take another step. And the day after that, another. I had been broken, yes. But now, I was rebuilding. And this time, I would build something real. I spotted Ryan across the café, fumbling with his coffee cup, looking awkward. My chest tightened, but I forced myself to walk over. Hey, Ryan, I said, sliding into the booth across from him. He blinked. Oh, hey. You're friends with Ava, right? I let out a bitter laugh. Used to be, yeah. Actually, I was her ex. His eyes widened. Ex? I didn't know. I thought you guys. We're done, I said. Clearly. Ryan rubbed the back of his neck. She she never mentioned it. I mean, she didn't tell you. I interrupted. Surprise. He looked down, ashamed. I guess not. I mean, I thought she was. I don't know. I trusted her. You see the problem, don't you? I asked softly. She manipulates. She hides things. She's inconsistent. Ryan sighed, running a hand through his hair. I thought she was amazing. Sweet, fun. I never saw any red flags. I leaned back, staring at him. That's because she's good at hiding them. And because people like us, who love deeply, ignore what we don't want to see. He looked up, eyes filled with guilt. I had no idea. None at all, I said. And that's the point. Karma has a way of revealing the truth without me doing anything. Ryan frowned. Karma? Yeah, I said. Truth has a way of catching up with people. And you're about to see some of it yourself, whether you like it or not. He nodded slowly. I guess. I just feel bad. I didn't mean to. You didn't, I interrupted again. But she did. And that's what matters. Not what you feel. Not what she wants you to believe. Reality is different. Ryan ran a hand down his face. So, you're not angry. At least, not enough to. Revenge? I asked. I thought about it. Trust me, it would feel satisfying for a second. But then? Nothing changes. Ava still walks free. I still lose time, energy, and peace. That's not worth it. He blinked. I never thought of it that way. I'm not her puppet anymore, I said, my voice firmer. I don't need to control her. I don't need to humiliate her. She'll live with herself eventually. Ryan swallowed. I hope she doesn't hurt you anymore. I shrugged. She already did. And I survived. That's the point. I glanced at my phone. Lena had messaged, "You're making the right choice. Don't let anger rule you." I smiled faintly and typed back, "I think I am." Thanks. Ryan looked at me curiously. Does she ever get what's coming to her? Sometimes, I said. And sometimes life just reveals the truth to those who care enough to notice. That's enough for me. He nodded slowly, understanding dawning in his eyes. I wish I'd known sooner. Maybe things would have been different. Maybe, I said. But maybe not. The truth always comes out. The bell above the cafe door jingled, and I looked up to see Lena smiling at me, holding 2 coffees. "You're late," I said, but my heart lifted. "Traffic," she said, sliding in next to me. "But judging by your face, you've had an intense conversation." I nodded. "You could say that." Ryan, he's seeing her cracks now. And I didn't have to do anything. "Good," Lena said. "That's how it should be. Let the truth speak for itself." I nodded, feeling a wave of relief. I was ready to lash out. To ruin her life. But, it wouldn't have helped me. I would have lost myself in the process. "And losing yourself is the real cost," Lena said softly, her hand brushing mine. The warmth of it made my chest tighten. "You chose wisely. Anger doesn't fix betrayal, it just spreads it." I exhaled slowly. I'm starting to understand that. It's hard, letting go of the instinct to strike back. "You'll get there," she said. "Step by step. Today you chose dignity. Tomorrow, you'll choose peace. That's how you win." I smiled faintly. Winning without fighting feels strange, but good. "Good strange is the best kind," she said, grinning. "And don't forget, life has more to offer than Ava's drama. I laughed quietly. I'm beginning to see that. I can feel myself moving forward, even if it's one step at a time. Lena nudged my shoulder. Exactly. And maybe you're ready for someone who actually sees you. And respects you. I looked at her, heart pounding. Maybe, I let the word hang, uncertain but hopeful. She smiled, her eyes sparkling. Maybe is a start. I glanced back at Ryan, still sitting quietly, looking lost. I realized something, revenge would have only made me bitter. Watching the truth unfold naturally, seeing Ava's fragile facade start to crack, was far more satisfying. I turned to Lena, squeezing her hand lightly. Thanks for being here. For reminding me who I am. Always, she said, her grip firm. And remember, you're stronger than you think. Always have been. I exhaled, letting the tension melt. For the first time in weeks, I felt calm, empowered. Ava had chosen her path. I had chosen mine. And for the first time, I felt free. I noticed it first in the office. Whispers, sideways glances, hushed laughter. Not about me this time, it was Ava. She's difficult, Clara said quietly as I walked by. People are starting to notice. What do you mean? I asked, curious but careful. Clara shrugged. Her charm only works if people believe it. Some are seeing cracks, she's controlling, selfish. Ryan included, I think. I felt a strange calm wash over me. No thrill, no glee, just validation. The truth emerging naturally was enough. Later, Ryan approached me near the coffee machine, looking unsettled. Hey, can we talk? I raised an eyebrow. Sure. What's up? He ran a hand through his hair. I don't know what to do with Ava anymore. She changes moods so fast. 1 minute she's sweet, next she's impossible. I see, I said carefully, keeping my expression neutral. And you're realizing what I said before? He sighed. Yeah. I feel like I was blind. I didn't see the manipulation. She's demanding, controlling. I thought it was love. I nodded. Sometimes love blinds us. Or rather, we let it blind us. He looked down. I don't want to hurt her, but I can't keep pretending either. I don't know how to handle it. Handle it with honesty, I said. Not with anger. Not with schemes. Just truth. Ryan gave a small, uncertain laugh. That's what you've done. And, it seems to be working. I smiled faintly, feeling my chest lighter. It's not about working. It's about balance. Letting consequences unfold naturally. Karma, if you like that word. Later that day, I ran into Lena at the park. You're glowing, she said, smiling as I approached. Glowing? I asked, laughing quietly. Yeah. You're calm. Steady. You don't look like someone being torn apart anymore. I feel lighter, I admitted. Seeing her flaws without needing to intervene, it's freeing. Exactly, Lena said. You're learning that control isn't yours to take. You're just observing and growing. I glanced at her, warmth spreading through my chest. And having someone to talk to makes it easier. You make it easier. She nudged my shoulder playfully. Good. Because I plan to stick around for a while. I laughed. I hope so. The next week, at a team meeting, Ava tried her usual theatrics, smiling too brightly, interjecting over others, subtle digs disguised as jokes. I noticed the subtle tension in the room. People were no longer fooled. She's exhausting, Clara muttered to me quietly. I nodded. I see it too. And she doesn't even realize she's unraveling. You're handling this so well, Clara added. Most people would be distracted, angry, even jealous. You're composed. I've realized, I said softly, that anger isn't the point. Watching reality unfold is. Later that evening, Lena and I sat on the rooftop, watching the city lights flicker below. You seem different, she said quietly. More confident, more you. I am, I admitted. I feel like I've been walking through fog for months. Now. I see clearly. Ava's actions, other people's loyalties, it all makes sense. Does it feel satisfying? She asked, her eyes searching mine. I shook my head. Not really. There's no thrill in her mistakes. It's just, right. Fair. I don't need revenge to validate myself. She smiled, leaning closer. That's maturity. You're learning what matters, peace, dignity, trust. And maybe, letting someone in, finally. I felt my chest tighten. Maybe, I whispered. Maybe is a start, she said softly, her hand brushing mine. The warmth lingered, grounding me. The next morning, Ryan stopped me in the hallway. I had a serious talk with her last night, he said. It didn't go perfectly, but, she's realizing her limits. She's seeing herself, I think. That's good, I said. Letting her face reality without me pushing, that's enough. He smiled weakly. Thanks for helping me see. I would have kept fooling myself. No thanks needed, I said. Just focus on your own choices. As I walked back to my desk, I realized something had shifted. The world hadn't changed, but I had. Betrayal, manipulation, loss, it all felt lighter because I wasn't consumed by it. Lena's presence, quiet understanding, and our shared moments had become my anchor. I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was reclaiming myself. Later, when Ava stormed past me, fuming after a minor disagreement with Ryan, I didn't flinch. She glared, expecting reaction. I smiled faintly, calm, and turned away. No words. No anger. No games. Watching her unravel, subtly, without interference, felt strangely empowering. Not satisfaction, not revenge, just clarity. Lena nudged me gently. See? You're above it. You're stronger than drama, stronger than manipulation. I exhaled, letting the tension leave my chest. I see that now. And I finally, trust myself to handle it all. We sat in silence, watching the city pulse below, feeling each other's presence without needing words. For the first time in months, I wasn't consumed by anger, betrayal, or jealousy. I was simply, free. And that freedom felt like victory. I saw her the moment I entered the living room. Ava, laughing a little too loudly, surrounded by people who seemed enchanted by her charm. My chest tightened, but I drew a slow breath. Lena's hand brushed mine. You okay? She whispered. I will be, I said, squeezing her hand. Just, one last look. Ava caught my eye and froze, her smile faltering for a split second. Oh, hey, she said. Hi, Ava, I said, voice calm. Can we talk? She raised an eyebrow, glancing around. Here. Really? Yes, here, I replied. It's time. We slipped onto a quieter balcony. The hum of music faded behind us. I don't know what you want from me, she said, fidgeting with her bracelet. I want closure, I said simply. And I want to say something before we truly move on. Her lips pressed together, defensive. Closure, you think words will fix this? I don't care about fixing it, I said. I care about understanding. About me understanding you. About me letting go. She laughed bitterly. Let go. You think I need you to let go? No, I said firmly. I need me to let go. I've carried this for too long, your lies, your games. I need to release it. Her eyes softened, almost regretful. I didn't. I never meant to hurt you this way. You didn't mean to. I asked, voice rising. Do you even know what that means? I loved you, Ava. I trusted you. And you broke me. I thought we could still be friends, she said quietly. Friends? I laughed, disbelief mixing with hurt. Do you hear yourself? Friends after betrayal. After engagement behind my back. She flinched. I didn't know how to. I didn't want to lose you completely. You already lost me, I said softly. The moment you chose him over honesty, over respect, over us, you lost me. Her lips trembled. Don't, I interrupted. I'm not here for excuses. I'm here for the truth. And the truth is I'm done. Done holding on to someone who didn't deserve me. She looked down, silent. And for the first time, I realized, no apology, no plea, no regret could undo what was done. I didn't need her remorse. I needed my freedom. Lena appeared then, sliding her arm through mine. Everything okay? She asked gently, giving me a reassuring smile. Yes, I said, taking a deep breath. Better than okay. Ava glanced at Lena, a flicker of unease crossing her face. So, you're together? Yes, I said simply. And happy. And free from the past. Ava's chest rose and fell, almost a sigh. I guess I underestimated you. I thought I'd still have control. I was wrong. You never had control, I said. You only had illusions. And I've walked away from them. Her eyes glistened, but no words came. I turned to Lena. Come on, I said, voice steady. Let's enjoy the night. Lena squeezed my hand. Finally letting go, she asked softly. I nodded. Finally. As we re-entered the party, I felt a weight lift. Ava remained behind, a fleeting shadow of regret. I didn't look back. There was no anger, no yearning, only clarity. Lena laughed softly beside me. You're glowing, she said. Not glowing, I said, smiling. Just, free. Free, she echoed, her eyes warm. And ready for everything ahead. I felt it in my chest, a pulse of relief, pride, and anticipation. My past with Ava had been a storm. But now, standing beside Lena, I saw a horizon I could step into, fully myself. No manipulation. No betrayal. Just life. And I was ready to live it. I stepped out of the car and adjusted my jacket. The venue gleamed in the sunlight, white roses framing the entrance. My chest tightened for a second, old habits, but Lena's hand on mine reminded me who I was now. You ready? She asked, her voice calm but excited. As I'll ever be, I said, smiling. Let's go. We entered together, side by side, and I immediately felt the stares. Guests whispered, eyes flicking between me and Ava. I ignored them, keeping my chin high. Lena squeezed my hand. They're noticing, she murmured. Good, I said quietly. Let them. Ava turned just as we reached the aisle. Her smile faltered when she saw me, eyes widening. I could feel the tension radiating from her, the disbelief that I could be here, calm, confident, unshaken. Ava, I said softly, almost warmly, congratulations. She blinked. Oh, hi. Her voice cracked. I gave a polite nod and shifted my attention to Lena, who smiled brightly beside me. I felt a surge of pride. I wasn't here to fight or cry, I was here to witness my own triumph. As the ceremony began, I watched Ava move gracefully down the aisle, the fake perfection in her posture evident. Ryan looked nervous, glancing at her frequently. I caught his gaze briefly. His expression wasn't admiration, it was doubt. I whispered to Lena, "See that? He's starting to notice the cracks." Lena leaned close. "Let him. You don't need to intervene. Karma has a way of showing itself." I nodded. "I know." During the vows, Ava's words were sweet, rehearsed, and hollow. Ryan smiled awkwardly, trying to match her enthusiasm. A few guests shifted uncomfortably, sensing the tension that hadn't existed the day before. "She's different," one whispered behind me. "She always was," I murmured back. I focused on my own feelings, calm, unbothered, completely detached from the anxiety I used to feel around her. Lena's hand tightened around mine, grounding me. When Ava whispered, "I do," Ryan hesitated for a fraction of a second. That pause was all it took. A crack in her perfect facade, a glimpse of reality slipping through. I exhaled slowly. Not satisfaction, not revenge, just clarity. I could see the truth unraveling in real time, and I didn't need to act. After the ceremony, during the photos, Ava tried to project her usual charm. Guests smiled politely, but some whispers persisted. I overheard snippets. "She seems tense, did you see how he looked at her?" I turned to Lena. "They're noticing." "Not me. Not anger. Just observation." She nodded. "Exactly. You're above it. You're free." Later, as we moved toward the reception hall, Ava's smile slipped in a candid moment. Ryan asked a question, and she stumbled, flustered, fumbling for a response. He nodded slowly, not satisfied, a shadow of doubt crossing his face. I watched from across the room, Lena's presence comforting. I didn't gloat, I didn't need to. The universe was taking care of the rest. Lena leaned closer, whispering, "You did it. You walked in, and nothing shook you." "I feel alive," I admitted. "Like a weight has lifted completely." We joined the dance floor. Guests murmured, noticing our energy. Ava caught my eye for a split second, her confidence cracked, her poise faltering. I smiled, serene. "You're glowing," Lena said, spinning me gently. "Not glowing," I said softly. "Just free. Completely free." Ava's veil caught my peripheral vision. She looked at me again, desperately, maybe wishing for a reaction she wouldn't get. I stayed composed. Calm. Strong. Later, during a quiet moment, I whispered to Lena, "I thought I'd cry. I thought I'd be angry. But I'm not. I'm just myself." "You've earned this," she said. "You've grown beyond her, beyond the past. And now you get to enjoy it." I nodded, feeling a warmth spread through me. For months, I had carried pain, betrayal, and confusion. But today, standing beside Lena, surrounded by beauty and life, I felt complete. Ava tried to approach later, a forced smile plastered on her face. I hope you're happy," she said, voice soft. "I am," I said gently. "And I wish you the same." Her lips trembled, and I saw regret flicker for the first time, too late. I didn't look away, didn't flinch. I just walked back to Lena, our hands intertwined. "Come on," I said. "Let's leave the past where it belongs." Lena smiled, leaning against me. "Finally, you're walking out smiling." I exhaled, taking it in, the whispers, the subtle chaos behind Ava's facade, the peace in my chest, the love in Lena's eyes. The wedding was supposed to be her triumph, her moment. But I realized it had become mine, not in malice, but in growth, dignity, and freedom. I pressed my lips to Lena's temple, feeling the world tilt in a good way. We walk together, I said. Always, she whispered. And as we stepped out into the sunlight, I felt the last remnants of my old life fall away. Ava, karma, betrayal, they were behind me. Ahead lay clarity, love, and everything I deserved. Finally, I was free. The sunlight spilled across the sidewalk, warm and golden, as Lena and I walked side by side. I felt the breeze brush against my face and realized I could finally breathe without the weight of betrayal pressing on my chest. You seem different today, Lena said, glancing at me with a teasing smile. I am, I said, letting a laugh escape. I feel lighter. Like I've finally shaken off every shadow from the past. She nudged me playfully. You look lighter too. Or maybe it's just that smug look you get when you know you've won without fighting. I grinned. Maybe a little of both. But mostly, free. I finally understand what freedom feels like. Good, she said softly. Because you deserve it. After everything, you deserve peace and happiness. I nodded, feeling a warmth spread through me. I never thought I'd reach this point. Not after Ava, not after everything she put me through. Lena's hand brushed mine, fingers intertwining naturally. And you did. You survived. You learned. You grew. And now, you get to build something real. I looked down at her hand and then back at her face, noticing the sparkle in her eyes. Real. I like that word. Real feels good. Honest, trusting, uncomplicated. She laughed softly. Finally, someone who gets it. No games. No facades. Just us. I squeezed her hand. Just us. As we turned a corner, I saw familiar faces, Clara and Max, smiling as they waved. Max grinned. Look at you two, walking like you own the world. Feels like we do, I said, my chest swelling with a quiet pride. Feels like we've earned it. Clara laughed. You've changed, in the best way. Calm, confident, and not a trace of the old chaos you carried around. I shrugged. Chaos was a teacher, not a sentence. I've learned to listen to myself now, to trust myself. Max elbowed me playfully. And Lena's clearly part of that. She's like, your balance. She is, I admitted, smiling at Lena. And she makes the journey easier, brighter, better. She blushed faintly, leaning into my side. You're sweet. But I'm just happy we're here together, walking forward. We kept moving down the sunlit street. The city hummed around us, lively and warm, full of life. Every step I took felt lighter than the last, every breath unburdened. You know, Lena said, I've been thinking. About everything. About how easily people forget their own worth when someone manipulates them. But you never lost yourself completely. You just needed time. I did, I admitted. I lost a little. Maybe more than a little. But I found it again. Piece by piece. And now, it feels whole. Like me, truly me. She smiled, eyes soft. I love seeing that. You're not just surviving anymore, you're thriving. I laughed quietly. Thriving. That's a nice way to put it. It used to feel like surviving was enough. Now. I want more. I want life. Love. Honesty. And you have it, she said, nudging my shoulder. Right here, right now. I looked at her, the warmth in her eyes reflecting my own. You make everything feel possible. Like I can take everything I've learned and actually use it to live better. She squeezed my hand. And you will. Together. We stopped at a small café, familiar from earlier days when the world felt less complicated. Inside, friendly faces greeted us, some loyal friends, some colleagues who'd stayed steady through the storm. There was no Ava, no reminders of past betrayal. Just warmth, laughter, and continuity. Coffee? Lena asked, glancing at me with a playful smirk. Absolutely, I said, grinning back. And maybe a pastry. Why not celebrate surviving everything? We sat together, sipping our drinks, talking quietly. Lena leaned her head against my shoulder. You're lighter than ever, she murmured. I feel it, I admitted. Every day, I feel it more. Every step we take away from the past, I feel stronger. More myself. I think I finally trust my own judgment. That's beautiful, she said softly. And that trust, it's contagious. It makes us better, together. I smiled, resting my head lightly against hers. You make me better. I never realized someone could make me feel safe and seen without strings attached. That's love, she said simply. I laughed quietly, a little in awe. I used to think love was complicated, messy, full of traps. Now, it feels like breathing. Natural. Easy. Honest. Exactly, she said, her fingers brushing mine. And we get to keep it that way. Build it our way, without shadows or manipulation. I looked out the window at the sunlit street. Everything glowed, buildings, trees, the people walking by. It was a fresh canvas. It's like walking out of a storm into the sunlight, I said softly. And we're free to choose our path. She smiled, eyes reflecting the gold light. And we're walking it together. I exhaled, letting it all settle, the pain, the betrayal, the loss. None of it mattered now. The past had served its purpose, teaching me strength, patience, and self-worth. Ready to take the long way home? I asked, smiling. Always, she said, squeezing my hand. We stepped back onto the street, laughter spilling between us. Each step was deliberate, joyful, and free from fear. Shadows of the past lingered faintly at the edges of memory, but they didn't touch us. They couldn't. As we walked, I thought about Ava, about all the toxicity that had once defined my world. I didn't feel anger, just a calm certainty. Life had moved on. People who mattered had stayed. Those who were fleeting faded. Lena looked at me, playful but tender. So, Mr. Free and Thriving, what's next? I smiled, glancing ahead. Whatever we want. Together. She laughed softly. I liked the sound of that. And together, hand in hand, we walked down the sunlit street, leaving shadows behind. Not bitter. Not broken. Just whole, alive, and ready for the next chapter. Finally, I felt complete. Finally, I felt free.